right, welcome back to another episode of On the Delo. I am your host, the Delo. Anyways, my son is recording the video today. It should come out pretty good, I'm hoping. We shall see. I know the audio is good because I did it myself. It only took me 123 episodes to get to a point of where I'm comfortable. So yes, welcome to 123. And if you haven't guessed already, I do not have a guest in here yet. So sometimes I like to do solo podcasts. I really love my conversations with guests and enjoy those, but I am on the precipice of releasing my new book, and it's a working title. We're getting pretty close. I think I like the title, so we're gonna leave that a secret for now. But I do want to discuss a little bit in this podcast, a little bit about the reason why this book came about and what's going on. So when I came up with this goal of turning 50 and not dying, it was a very good goal. I was very excited about it, and I was very glad I could hit 50. So I was like, okay, what other goals do I want to accomplish when I turn 50 and after I'm 50, and what goes on, and what am I going to look like? And am I, all of a sudden when I'm looking at myself, am I this creepy old man? And every time I go to get coffee and there's like a young adult there serving me coffee, I feel like the creepy old man, right? We actually have a new intern in today, and am I a creepy old man? No, not yet. Yeah, it's so weird when we put in our head what we think about, and what's reality within our head and what's reality with what other, because most of the time, here's the deal. Most people do not give a shit about you or what you're about or what you look like. They're so in their head worried about what they have to do next for their life. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over time, is that I got so fixated, like whether it be through high school or middle school or even, college, of what, even actually the beginning of business, honestly, of what other people thought of me. And I think it really, it just caused a pause in my growth. But it also is something that I can reflect back on and understand that because I lived through those challenges, now at 50, I just don't give a shit what anybody thinks. And that's not to be disrespectful to anybody else's or their opinions or their thoughts. It's being respectful to myself, saying, cool, I'm good with who I am. I'm a good person. I know that I'm, giving people my all when I'm with them. And, it's almost like invigorating and relieving at the same point. So rediscovering ourselves, that's the first chapter in my book, and that's what I want to discuss today. So when we think about rediscovering ourselves, I guess one of the first questions that I ask is, when did we get lost? And I think we get lost all the time. And as I look through the decades of my life, and I have good documentation of this because I was always a kid that either journaled, I kept everything. My wife completely rips on me for all the stuff that I keep in the house. I have old concert tickets to old T-shirts to, a lot of nostalgia sort of stuff that I can look back and that reverts to a memory in my head. I even have old plane tickets when I would fly back to Atlanta to go visit friends or my parents or whatever it was that I was doing. Some really, like my first paycheck ever, like from Burger King, I made like, I don't know, it's like $2.40 an hour or something. $2, think about that, people. That was not that long ago. I know 50's old, for some of you, but honest to God, that was not that long ago. We're talking, the 80s when I got my first job? So I look back and I see all this stuff. And so during these times, we are in the moment of being who we are, but then we also get lost. I lost myself during decades of my life where I drank too much and partied too much. But I found a different part of me, which was, in the let's just say the now of what I needed to be, in order to move forward. So now at 50, I feel like I've really, have gotten rid of those societal external distractions is what I call them. And what I mean by that is, I don't know, the race to acquire more shit that you don't need. And we talk about this. I talk about this with Jeremy in our mastermind all the time. It's like, cool. You buy a new car and I'm telling you, after you spend all the money on that car, which is a complete waste of money, I'm not saying that it's not cool, and if you have the money, don't do it, and it gives you joy, totally awesome, but it really is a waste of money. It's 4 wheels with an engine that's just supposed to get you from A to B, and if you're paying a lot for that, and you don't have the money, you're seriously doing yourself a disservice. And we talk about this all the time. But the point being is that these are distractions: cars, clothes, purses. Do they sometimes give us a value of saying, "Oh, hey, that's cool. I feel like I achieved something, or I got something of worth to help me out." Yeah, I mean, I guess they do at a point, but man, that wears off real quick. It wears off real quick. I mean, think about the car that you bought, and then you got in it, and then 3 months later, you're like, you're bringing the coffee in the car that you weren't going to bring before, and now you kind of spill a little bit of the coffee in the car, and then you're not going to eat in the car. No, this is a new car. We're not doing it, right? 4 months later, what are you doing? Oh, you're going right through that drive-through, and you're eating in that car. And guess what's in the car? There's crumbs. Yeah, the crumbs all over the place. And by month 6, your car looks like shit, and you're just kind of like. But guess what you still have, or you may not have if you paid cash. Well, first of all, here's what you don't have. You don't have the cash if you paid cash for it, and you still have the car payment if you still have the car. So at the end of the day, you got a little bit of a, let's just say a shot of joy for very little reward, I think, in my opinion. So when you're looking at all these external distractions, I do know that as I get older, it's really the less that I want. As I've cleaned out my closets, I have cleaned out clothes. I mean, it's really simplicity. My old ass just wants to wake up and say, cool, I like this brand. It fits me good. I've got 7 colors for 7 days of the week, and 7 pairs of socks, and 7 underwears that all fit the same. And maybe I have a little bit of an array of T-shirts, but it gets confusing after a while if you have too much crap. So I've given all my stuff to my kids. I think Jack's wearing probably half my clothes today. It just simplifying life was a huge thing for me. So as we get older, priorities shift, things change, and then we quote unquote rediscover ourselves. I remember when I was younger, and my priorities were to stay out as late as possible and to drink as much as possible. The next day was not my priority. It wasn't my priority necessarily to get up early and go to that meeting sober. No, it was my priority to do what I needed to do to get through to the day, to get to the night. Now my priority is to do what I need to do to go to sleep early so that I can get through the day adequately and professionally and all together. So it's just a transition, and there's no right or wrong to it. We all go through our phases in life. We all have the things that we're doing. When we're younger, we're trying to mate, and so I guess mating happens at night, right, Jack? But there's Diddy. Did you ever mate at night? I don't know. No, Diddy's a church boy. He made it at church. So there's all sorts of different things that end up happening. I can't wait to get Diddy on the podcast. Actually, that'll be fun. And then we have career transitions, right? So we're going to school, right? We're making good grades. We're doing our thing. Still going to school. Are you both juniors? You're going to be a sophomore, and you're going to be a junior. I should know what my son is. Okay, cool. And you're U of A, and you're ASU. Yeah. So I just had a kid that graduated from U of A, the older one, Matthew. And it's funny, as you watch these kids, they go and they're so excited, during the graduation ceremony if they're not totally plastered. But the point being is that there is a huge sense of almost accomplishment, freedom, and also, from what I can remember, a little bit of like you're kind of scared. If you take a minute to breathe and just like think about, hey, what's next? Am I going back to live with my parents? Do I have a job? Do I have something lined up? And the thing is like that's a huge transition for kids, and definitely one that I'm grateful for. Having the I had the ability to intern and do things and set my future up accordingly, which has set me up for the last 3 decades to get to where I'm at here. But as you watch these kids and you watch the gleam in their eye, and you watch like all the celebration and all the I'm sure the reverting back to the memory of all the hard work that they had to do, and especially in this day and age where my son they said was the first of the generation that grew up through COVID. So they were, in COVID, they were freshmen, and they were getting their diploma from a cardboard cutout, of the principal. They would a guy in a big bee suit would put the diploma in the cardboard cutout of the principal, and then my son would be able to run up there out of the car and get a picture with the fake principal. And that's how he had to graduate high school. There was no celebration. There was no party. There was it was completely different. And then he would go to college that first year, and literally they, would have to do school on Zoom basically. And of course we got charged all these lab fees and all this other stuff that they never participated in. But hey, that's the university system. They got to make their money, right? Don't even get me started on that bullshit. So anyway, so then my kid, ends up graduating in 2024, and that's 4 years from 2020, and he's the first of the COVID graduating class, and what a time of life to go through, and to think that this is how life is, in certain aspects. So these kids are now free. They're free to go out and do, a lot of cool stuff after experiencing a lot of, let's just say, heartache and, adversity, in essence. But in a way, they learn to cope with it and deal with a different norm as we get back to, almost the same norm from even when I was growing up. So as we go through that, we also go through our age and rediscovering ourselves. We go through lifestyle changes. We go through body changes. I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of people, especially women in Scottsdale. Body changes, they can't necessarily seem to cope. So plastic surgeons make a great living out here. If you want things on your chest, or if you want things, down on your buttocks, they have all sorts of medical centers to do that. And they have a great, I guess you would call it, what is it? It's a new supplement pill called Ozempic. Yeah, it's one of those things that you can lose weight real quick. But this is not an Ozempic podcast. All I am saying is that there's so many things for people as their bodies change, they can do to get back to, get back to where it is that they think that they were at their best when their body was there. And it's funny how we so fight these changes. I know I fight it with my hair. Look, I've been very, very vocal, and I show it on social media. I have a laser helmet. I don't have the thickest hair in the world, right? I'm a 50-year-old man, and I'm not necessarily, quote unquote balding, but I got thin ass hair. I don't like it. I want to keep that shit for as long as I can. So I got a helmet. I have special shampoo. I have all sorts of weird shit. And you know what? It keeps it alive for now. So we all have our stuff, we all have our stuff. With the body, for me, it's about working out. It's about getting in the movement and trying not to overwork and trying not to overeat and doing all the things that I really have to do now at this age, because I don't have the leeway as a 20-year-old or even a 50-year-old on, huge TRT. I'm trying to do everything within a natural setting. I am doing everything in a natural setting in order to take care of my inner body, my mental body, and, my physical body all in one. So there's a lot, again, that goes with body changes and how people want to, basically, get back to rediscovering themselves and what they do. And your identity is always evolving and changing as well. So what you may believe or not believe based on experiences that you're having and the types of experiences that are real to you, you may have a different belief system, and that can be everything from your spiritual beliefs to your political beliefs to just even your moral beliefs of things that you may or may not have gone through. And there's no right or wrong answer to that. Every individual has, they have something that they are, let's just say, holding on to or grasping onto or believing into. For me, I don't like to push that onto anybody else. I just kind of do what my thing is. I share as I share on what works with me. And if that's something that works for you, that's totally cool. I've journaled my whole life. And so to be able to look back 20 years ago of, dates and times, I can go back probably 20 years to this date today and look at what I was doing. How crazy is that? In my own words, and that is a great history lesson for you yourself to be able to look at, to be like, wow, I've really come a long way, or maybe I haven't come a long way. I lost everything, but it's a fun exercise, basically to do and to have as well. So, Point being is that as we rediscover ourselves, our needs change, our experiences change, our identity is evolving and changing, our career, can and cannot change. We may be in the same career, but the way that we look at that changes. I know my career has changed. I've been very blessed to put a lot of hard work in, and I still do, but I work harder in a smarter way. And what I mean by that is the work that I do now are things that I am 100% in love with and that I want to do day in and day out. And if I want to stop working at 3:00, I will shut it down, go play guitar, go for a walk or whatever. And I have the ability to do that because that's what I have worked myself into to earn. And I have great people that do all the other things that I don't want to do. And they actually love doing that. So again, this is a little off topic, but hiring correctly is huge. Understanding people's personalities, what they like to do and how they like to do it and what feeds them, that is huge as well. So that's a great aspect of just being able to control certain aspects of your life and know moving forward that you're going to have some options to, live differently as you get older, because trust me, you do get more tired. You don't want to do quite as much. And it's just evolution, baby. That's all it is. So I do want to leave this podcast with some very important music nostalgia. This is way off topic, but generally when I interview people, I give them like a this or that question, but I want to talk about 80s nostalgia, and hopefully the algorithm will pick up on this. So when you look at a lot of these older 80s bands that are still around, a lot of these older acts they're putting out records, and I kind of like that. It's, it's from a selfish place because I'm a butt rocker at heart. I mean, I grew up, with Bon Jovi and Aerosmith and Warrant and Winger, a whole bunch of bands that you guys probably never heard of. You're like, what? So that's kind of a Beavis and Butthead reference. There you go. But here's the thing. These old men, okay, in their late 60s, some in their 70s, like the Scorpions, Rock You Like a Hurricane, all right? Still Loving You. I mean, all these great songs. They are in their 70s and they're still doing tours. AC/DC still doing tours. The Scorpions had released a new record just like a year ago. Think about that. It's crazy. And I sit here and I laugh because I'm like, is rock music dead? Is 80s rock music dead? I don't know, because I keep enjoying listening to my old artist release new records. And I think the youngest of the old artists, honestly, is the Foo Fighters. And they release a record like every couple of years or whatever. But like Skid Row, Sebastian Bach, the lead singer there, he's got a new record out. It's really good. I listened to it climbing up the mountain the other day. Motley Crue just released a new tune, minus one of their guitarists. He's very old and did his own album. They got in a fight or whatever. But they released a new tune. It was pretty good. Creed is out doing a tour. I'm hoping that they release a new record. The Black Crowes just released a new record, which is phenomenal. Pearl Jam just released a new record. So it's kind of cool to watch these older acts. If you're into these acts and you grew up with them and you're really into the music, the heart and soul of what they have to offer, and they're not just, throwing out a turd, I think most of these records are actually pretty good. And then if you do a deep dive, what I like to do is I go into Apple and I'll go into my music stuff, and then I'll hit, like, I was looking at a band called Tora Tora, which I'm sure probably none of you have ever heard of unless you're really into butt rock. And Tora Tora had, like, it's funny because when I was a kid, I would buy like the first couple of records, and then all of a sudden I went on this tangent of probably not listening to as much music because I was too busy chasing women or going to college or whatever. But you can look back now, and this is a tip for you guys. This is a very good tip. Trust me. If you're like my age or a little bit younger, go to one of those butt rock bands or whatever it was, even if it was Madonna or this and that, and you will find out that there's a lot more albums that they have than you ever knew. And some of those albums, and I'll give you an example. Warrant. A lot of people have heard of Warrant. Cherry Pie, When I Saw Red. Heaven isn't too far away. Yeah. So anyways, the lead singer killed himself had too much alcohol, unfortunately. But they had 3 really big albums, and then what had happened is the whole Seattle, the grunge scene came in, Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all them, and it just wiped away the Warrants and the Wingers of the world. but those bands still made some records. And if you go back and you look through iTunes and you go through where it has the old records, there's some jewels in there. There's some gems. And if you ever like those records to begin with, you're going to love like the other ones. And it's like finding new discovered gold. So that is a very good tip for you older men and women out there that like that shit. And even if you're younger and you like, my son likes butt rock, right? Yeah. So what is old is new, right? I can't wait for the new rock bands to come out and see what they have to offer. But yeah, so just a quick podcast on just letting you know, we got the new book coming out. I've got about 15 chapters in here. We're doing a course that's going to come with the book, all based on life experiences and things that I do, and just keeping things really basic, really basic. I think we overcomplicate life, and we try to do too many things, too many ways for too many people. And I just want to help you and be a sounding board for you and just give you some, really good, let's just say, space in order to have a good and relaxing life in that area, and also look at UFOs. Yeah, just kidding. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. We're going to have some great entrepreneurial guests on very soon. I'm also going to be doing some other things with some hospitality people coming out. I'm going to have some of the winners of the Arizona Restaurant Association Awards. So that'll be fun. And I will be a awards presenter for like the 10th year in a row there. Excited to do that. I'll wear something crazy as usual. And that's it. So, and please subscribe to the podcast, share it with anybody that you think can get some value out of this. And then also check out my website at iamthedelo.com. I've got a free download ebook there. And also check out all my other social platforms, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, have a good one. And until next time, peace out.